Of course, we are going to do everything we can in the next 17 days to defeat Trump. But that's not all that we have to do. We have to educate, we have to organize, and people like Francesca has done such a great job at that. That's what we have to do all over this country. Because the agenda that we are fighting for is the agenda of the working people. Trump and his friends will say, oh, we're really radical. We're not radical. Fighting to make sure that people in this country have a livable wage of at least $15 an hour, that is not radical. Making sure that women get paid equally for the work they do compared to men is not radical. The right to join a trade union and not be denied that right by an employer, that's not radical, that's constitutional. The right and the need to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, our roads and our bridges and our tunnels and our wastewater plants and our water systems, and create millions of jobs, good paying jobs doing that, that is not radical. That's what the American people want. And as the people in Nevada very well know, standing up to the fossil fuel industry and saving this planet from the ravages of climate change, that's not radical. That's what any sane human being knows that we have to do if we want to have a planet that is healthy for our kids and future generations. Understanding that in this wealthy nation, education, we can have the best education system in the world, from childcare to graduate school. That's not radical. Healthcare is a human right, so that when you lose your job, you don't lose your healthcare, so that we don't spend twice as much money per capita on healthcare as do the people of any other country, so that the drug companies and the insurance companies can make huge profits. Medicare for all is not radical. That is exactly what the American people want. Reforming a racist and broken criminal justice system so that we end the disgrace of having more people in jail than any other country on earth. That ain't radical. That's common sense. That's human decency. Having an immigration system that is non-racist, that is fair, that does not intimidate and frighten millions and millions of undocumented people. Getting rid of private prisons and detention centers, that's not radical. Having a president who brings us together as Americans, no matter where we come from. My family, my father came from Poland. Some of the folks on the program today, their parents came from Mexico. So what? We're all Americans. Bringing people together is not radical. That's what this country is supposed to be about. So we have 17 days to get rid of the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. But our struggle doesn't end after 17 days. Our struggle continues to bring people together to make sure that in this country, all of our people have a decent standard of living, that we have a government that is based on the principles of economic justice, racial justice, social justice, and environmental justice. These are not radical ideas. The big money interests will tell you these are radical ideas. They are not. This is exactly what the American people want. But we have got to have the courage to come together to take on very powerful special interests. And when we do this, we can create the kind of nation that you know and I know we have the capability of becoming. So in this unprecedented moment in American history, when we're struggling with an economic collapse, when we're struggling with a pandemic, when we're struggling with climate change, when we're struggling with an authoritarian president, now more than ever, we've got to get involved in the political process, we've got to defeat Trump, and we've got to transform this country.